What is happening, everybody? Good evening to all of you. I'm putting this out in the evening. I'm not going to say the date because every time I do this in the evening, the video comes out the next day and I get a bunch of people down in comments that say, no, today is blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to say the date. All I can say is good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Whew, in California, we are having a mega heat wave. I'm a little bit inland. I'm not on the coast. If I was on the coast here in San Diego, it would be about 20 degrees cooler. It's 95 to 100 degrees today where I'm at. Well, a little bit under 100 most of the day, but it did hit 100. The people that are really far inland, like in the desert and past the mountain range here, or up in the Inland Empire in Riverside, like Palm Desert, Palm Springs, they are really getting hit hard. And these energy bills, electricity bills, are going to pound these people. And we see our energy bill just skyrocketing. We see what's happening over in the UK with businesses seeing their energy bills double, businesses having to go under just because of the energy bill. Completely insane. Today we're going to talk about what's happening here in California with the homeless situation. And yes, the cost of living is a part of it. We've got homeless hotels. And as I've reported a time or two here recently, we've got a park closing down completely unless they change it. But as of now, it looks like the park's going to be closed down, and they don't want to relocate all these tents and move all these people out of this park down in Chula Vista here in San Diego County. Wow, crazy times, right? So, quick article here. Earlier this month, Los Angeles City Council decided to put a ballot measure before voters that would require hotels in the city to make unsold rooms available to the homeless. A Los Angeles Responsible Hotel Ordinance would go before voters in the so they are thinking about forcing hotels, and it doesn't say motels, I'm sure it's motels too, forcing these businesses, these hotels, to house homeless in empty rooms. Well, there's going to be a lot more empty rooms because how many people want to actually go to a hotel next to someone that's insane, drunk, on who knows what, right in the room next door, and you're afraid to send your kids down to the ice machine in the hallway because there's a bunch of addicts, probably drug addicts in the hallways. Wow, insane. Would anybody have ever thought that homeless would have gotten this bad? Well, I think most of us here knew that things like this were going to be introduced, that this was coming, that parks were going to close down. If you drive around these cities, you see homeless, you see tents popping up where you never used to see them before. I see it here in San Diego. Wow, so just insane. Homeless hotel. What do you guys think about that? Is that going to work out? And we're seeing this, just this intervention in business. It used to be private business. That's no longer. Now it's control, control, control. They're going to tell you what to do. You have to put homeless people in these rooms. You have to do what we say. Everybody that visits your business has to wear, you guys all know what happened, right? Wacky, wacky times. And there's not anything done to reverse this. If we see a housing market correction, home prices come down, that would help some of this. But here's the problem. So many people that are waiting for home prices to come down so they're affordable, so many people are going so deep into debt that they're not going to have even a chance and a prayer of buying a home. And it's pretty sad. People have been waiting for a long time for home prices to come down. And when they do, good luck. Good luck. Cash buyers and investors are going to be scooping these homes up. And yes, some people will be able to buy a home if you hold cash, if you stay out of debt, if you're in a strong financial position. But here's the thing. We're already seeing mortgage companies fail. These mortgage companies, these non-bank lenders, we have Sprout Mortgage and the First Guarantee Mortgage, bankruptcy, massive layoffs. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The layoffs are bad enough. But when mortgage companies start failing, then banks start tightening their lending guidelines. Even banks that are going to be rescued no matter what, even the too big to fail banks, they're still going to tighten their guidelines. So the average person looking to buy a home that needs to scrape up 20% a down payment, it's probably going to be very tough to get that 20% down payment. Hopefully FHA loans will get a few people into these homes when they become more affordable. You're talking 3.5% down. But it's going to be tough for a lot of people. And what I fear is a big shift in home ownership from people that actually live in the home themselves to the institutional, the big corporate investors, the cash buyers. We'll see how it works out. That's my fear. That's what I see happening. Maybe some of these institutions will go under. We'll have to see. But what they're doing is they're raising their rents pretty drastically. What happens when people can no longer afford these rents, right? People will pay the rent before they'll pay everything else that's behind. Before they'll stop paying rent, they'll stop paying their credit cards. Unless they pass a law again, like we saw in 2020, where people can't get kicked out of their homes, eviction moratoriums. We all know what happened, right? Could something like that be on the way again? Because these rents are not dropping, they're actually still increasing. And these landlords are going for every dollar that they can get. We see Jeff Bezos out there investing in real estate through a company that he's taken a stake in. These people never get enough wealth. It's amazing how people can want to get so much wealth. We talked about that in our previous report. But homelessness, out of control. Would you want to stay in a hotel where homelessness were staying? Maybe in the room right next to yours. Please let me know down in the comments. But that's what's happening in California. California is absolutely bonkers. These, I would say, idiots. I don't know if they're idiots that are running this. Crooked idiots, maybe both, probably both. But the things that are being introduced here in California are just, it blows the mind how anyone can really think that these things are good. If you want to house homeless people somewhere, have a separate area completely away from everybody else, because these people are dangerous. When we see homelessness in the areas where a lot of homelessness are camped out, crime skyrockets. We've reported on that here. Car break-ins, home break-ins, assaults, everything skyrockets in those areas, right? So homelessness in a hotel next to families and people that are just there for a night, maybe on vacation or something like that, completely wacky. But that's California, the same state that here down the road. But at the same time, we're telling people with electric vehicles, don't charge your car because the power grid is too fragile. The power grid might go down. So force everybody into buying electric cars. But no, sorry, now you can't charge those cars, right? Another just, I mean, California is, but the rest of the nation is likely going to follow. There's 20 states that have basically came to the agreement. They haven't announced it yet, but 20 states are in agreement with California that we need to force people to buy electric vehicles and put a ban on purchasing new gas vehicles here down the road in a few years, right? So the nation is going to go the same direction as California. California is the canary in the coal mine. We are the kind of the test group for these things happening across the nation, in my opinion. So something else that we talked about here right on this channel was Starbucks locations closing down because so many homeless people are coming into these Starbucks to hang out, to just get out of the heat, to come inside, use the bathroom, and they end up camping out in the bathrooms. And it got so dangerous, people stopped showing up, and these places ended up closing down. Some of them tried getting security guards on the premises before they closed down, and they still ended up closing down. Pretty crazy, but this is what happens when you have a system, a financial system that where you create endless amounts of money and you hand it out and you create inflation, you create bubbles, you have boom and bust cycles. That's the name of this channel, by the way, bull boom, bear bust. And I didn't actually think too much about that title when I made the channel. I was just going to do one video, and it ended up getting a lot of views. Back then, I used to get a ton of views because I was one of the few people that talked about these things. Now there's thousands of channels saying the same thing, which is good, that people are realizing it and people are putting their voices out there and talking about what's really happening. Because if you watch the business channels, the big business channels, they are not really talking about what's going on. They may have a small segment here and there, but what's happening to most of the population is it's sad. And I hate to see what this country is going to look like in just a few years, especially California, if something doesn't turn around. But this is how people have to learn. They're going to have to learn the hard way. And people have been living the easy life, the life of going through a drive-through, swiping your card, getting whatever you want. But now we're seeing rising costs. We're just beginning to pay the piper. This is what happens with overconsumption and the belief that someone's always going to be there to give you a handout. And we saw in 2020 with all the rescue programs and stimmy checks, people just believe that print money, hand out checks, and everything's going to be fine. Stimulus checks don't grow food. The Fed raising interest rates doesn't grow food. Doesn't put money in people's wallet. If it does put money in people's wallet, it's going to cause more inflation on the back end. So that money is going to stay in your wallet for a shorter amount of time. That's for sure. Stay in your checking account for a shorter amount of time. The savings rate continues to plunge. We've got almost half of businesses here in the U.S. saying that they're not going to be able to afford rent here. We've got a eviction tsunami coming up where they're estimating in 60 days, 3.8 million, 3.8 million renters likely to be evicted in the next 2 months. You thought homelessness was bad now. You thought we were looking at hotels to house these homeless people now. You thought we were closing down parks now because of homelessness. We haven't seen anything yet. And I don't know what to say anymore in this episode, guys. Please let me know what you think. Homeless hotel, parks closing, 3.8 million in the next 2 months. We're going to need more rescue programs, more stimmies, more rescue programs, more rental eviction moratoriums. What else? What else are they going to come up with to stop this? I'd like to know. I'd like to hear from you down in the comments. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you're well. Happy September. We're in September. 4 months to go until the end of the year. Wow, it went fast. Thanks for being here, everybody. Bye now. Peace.